When it comes to first worldism and first worldist politics, it's very telling to show what people really invest in when they claim they're against it. Now, one of the examples I'd like to use is, Ron Paul is always going on about, the gold standard, blah, blah, blah. Considering that he owns about $5 million invested in gold. So, a bit of an interest there. But here's a really good one. Jill Stein, despite opposing everything it is that is bad about capitalism, she seems to be just comfortable making money off of, and shows again another bit of the true face of hypocrisy that is first worldism. Now, eventually, because she had to file as presidential candidate, she had to give out an analysis of her, financial disclosure. And it turns out that she is very heavily invested in industries that she says she opposes. Now, the financial disclosure that she made with the U.S. Office of Government Ethics on the 30th of March 2016, Stein and her husband, Richard Rohrer, have investments. Now, this doesn't count anything that they've invested in real estate. Is valued at anywhere from $3.8 million to $8.5 million, which seems very odd to me. That's a very large gap. They had a total income in 2015 of $349,000 with an effective tax rate of 21%. So at least they're paying taxes. Now, here's what Jill Stein is invested in that she has previously said that she was against or opposed the industries of. The financial industry. Stein has invested in roughly 1.2 to 2.65 million in funds like TIAA-CREF equity index that have big stakes in financial services industry. Holdings in these funds include banks like JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Deutsche Bank, and major parts of the investment portfolios. 5 of the hedge funds that Stein invests in maintain large portions in Wells Fargo, which have recently come under fire amid charges that employees were pressured to open up fraudulent new accounts for clients. One of the funds Stein has invested in maintains a significant portion in Goldman Sachs bonds. Stein once referred to Goldman Sachs as Hillary Clinton's best friend. Stein also holds a great deal in the pharmaceutical industry. She's listed between having 50,000 and 100,000 in the pharmaceutical giant Merck, which paid a record fine for overbilling Medicaid. In other words, ripping off the public option. She also invested 1.1 to 2.4 million in funds that maintain significant stakes in Pfizer, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, and Allergan. Big tobacco. Investing in tobacco industry or accepting contributions from the tobacco industry is often seen as a third rail in progressive politics, but Stein has between 500,000 and 1.1 million invested in funds that maintain significant stakes in Philip Morris International, the tobacco giant manufacturer Marlboro cigarettes, and 17 other tobacco brands. Defense contractors / drone producers. She's invested 500,000 to 100,000 in a fund that has Raytheon Corp as its 4th largest holding. 38 million investment. Raytheon, which is the 4th largest defense contractor in the world, receives 90% of its revenue from military contracts, manufacturing drone systems, which Stein has committed to ending, and significant missile systems. Now, her camp was called out on this. The Daily Beast did contact them and asked them why she had these investments despite publicly saying that she opposed these industries, and this was their response. My finances are largely held in index funds and mutual funds over which I have no control in management or decision making. Sadly, most of these broad investments are comprised as the American economy, degraded as it is by the fossil fuel, defense, and finance industries. Now, it should be fairly obvious to anyone that you cannot live as a communist inside of capitalism. But it should be noted that Jill Stein is not a communist. Jill Stein claims to be a socialist. She's a member of the Green Party and invests in exactly what the Green Party opposes, and that this is a big part of first worldist politics. Now, to some degree, this would be understandable if she was using that money to fund revolution. If that were the case, that would be perfectly fine. Whatever it takes to get the revolution paid for. And I'd be okay with that. But Jill Stein isn't funding revolution. In fact, we don't have any reason to believe that this money is even being put towards her campaign. This is something that she's merely banking on for herself. Even if she was using this for her campaign, it still wouldn't be justifiable because it would be a useless tactic. But this does really show the true face of first worldism, those who refuse to engage in violent struggle, and that they are too privileged to do so. Even the average first world person is privileged enough that it's not worth it to them to engage in armed struggle because they still have too much to lose. And here's a really good example of a leader within the left community that's also in the same situation, but is even far more privileged, making that money off of the very industries that her platform opposes. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.